Okay, hello everyone, and welcome. Ehea Laukkanen is my guest today. So this is the second episode of the role model series. So we are exploring the theme of how am I my own role model, and the idea for this came from the first interview. It was totally improvised, and I thought it was such a great concept in itself that I was like, okay, I want to do a series on this. Like, I want to do a podcast side quest. So, Ehea is a voice healer and intuitive vocal coach from Finland. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good to have you here. Would you like to share a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do in your own words?
Yes. Okay, well, yes, my name is Ehea Laukkanen and I'm from Finland and currently I'm at Oulu and I have my voice healing studio here where I'm right now sitting at. And yeah, I'm having my singing students, and some of them are here for the pop music and all of the genres of that. And some of my students are here for the voice healing and vocal channeling. So I'm actually teaching how to channel energy through your voice. And there's also light language singing involved in that and that kind of stuff that I could tell you more if it's not already known thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure it's not known for all the people who listen to this. Um, do you want to share a little bit about what's the difference of the more pop singing versus vocal channeling to someone who is who doesn't know anything about it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, vocal channeling is intuitive improvisation. It's always a fresh start for music. It's always something that is not composed already. It's pure improvisation and it doesn't have any rules because you can have improvisation, for example, in jazz music, but there are certain rules that you have to follow. And vocal channeling, intuitive improvisation. I have also created a term for, it's not my thing that I have invented, but the term that I use for this subject is alkulaulu in Finnish, and
Mm,
it means source singing in
mm,
English.
mm.
Yeah. So it's intuitive improvisation, and I think that it's improvisation, singing improvisation based on intuition.
Mm, yeah. So what's your story behind all of this? Like, how did you end up teaching vocal channeling?
Yeah, I can share. Well, I have been for many years in the music schools. I started with violin. I played violin in the like middle school as a child, and then I continued to music high school, and there I started singing. I have been always singing, but then I started the singing lessons and learning how to sing. And I think I was singing everywhere. I was so into it. I was singing everywhere, and that kind of continued until my start at the singing teacher training at the University of Applied Sciences. But then at the first year of my studies, I kind of I lost my motivation completely. I was feeling like, what is the point of this all? Like, and actually before that, what happened was that in my previous school in conservatory, uh, where I was at the pop and jazz singing, uh, what is the musician school?
Mhm.
Yeah, there actually my singing teacher there, um, she held her name is, by the way, Inga Söder. If you haven't checked her yet, she is amazing. She's also teaching right now, like the energy work. But yeah, she was holding a class where she was teaching about chakras, and there was some like, maybe it was Kundalini yoga or something like that we were doing as a group. And it was first experience ever for me in like yoga or energy work or anything. And after this Kundalini meditation yoga thing workshop, I was feeling like, what is this feeling like? I have never ever felt this kind of a feeling ever. I was like so awake, like the world seemed so different. Like that was maybe the first time that my consciousness rised. And that definitely shook something in me. And then I was more interested about those things, and Inga took me to a psychic event. We went there together, and there was the first experience for me of spirit world ever. There was an event where the medium was like telling that here's a spirit now coming here, and before she said that I had a feeling of something like some like pressure of air came first to my right ear and then to my, no, it was reverse. It was first to my left ear and then to my right ear. I felt like air pressure, something like that. And right after that I have felt that, the medium said that here's a spirit, and she was like osoitti, like yeah, like showing the same spot where I felt the air. And before that I didn't believe in anything like invisible. I didn't believe in energy or spirits or anything like that. And that was like that moment really changed my whole world. Yeah.
Did it like change your relationship with your voice then?
Well, now we are going to the point where this thing was kind of like the taustatarina. Background story. Yeah. Well, when I started the studies as a singing teacher, I had lost my motivation. I think it was some kind of a burnout. I was just so much like learning songs and repeating them, learning the lyrics, learning the melodies of different cover songs, different genres. And don't get me wrong, I loved singing. It was the best thing that I ever knew, but somehow the copy pasting, kind of like learning always something that is already like made and kind of like copying something. I loved the improvisation. I did it as much as I could, and I have been always like writing songs. So that was the best part of music for me. And I don't know, I just had that time that I was really questioning my whole field that I was studying. I was thinking like, what is the point of this all? Like copy pasting the songs and doing the improvisation with like songwriting, but it was so slow process. I have been always quite like fast person. I think I have some kind of ADHD that I'm not so good at keeping focus at one thing for a long time. It needs to be very like hyper focused state to keep me attained.
Mm.
So I started to find for different things in the spiritual world and the skein of spirituality. And I actually went for a yoga teacher training. I did a lot of yoga, and during one yoga class, end of it, I felt a new sensation. That was that my palms, like they was on fire. I felt like there was on fireballs in my palms, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? I must be going crazy right now. But later on I figured out it was actually when the energy channels in me kind of like purged open.
Mm.
Yeah, so there was this moment, and well, the moment when this all affected my voice was when I found myself in shamanistic fire drumming gatherings.
Mm.
It was so new for me because I have been always singing and I have been in music for so long time, but when I went there was people just drumming and they were singing, they were making voice and vocalization, and I was like thinking like, what is this thing? This is so new for me. Like everyone here is like making voice and singing, and there were moments when it was sounding very beautiful. Everyone was in harmony, and it was very mystical happening. And I started think like, what is this thing? And right now I am teaching that thing, so that got me in. That was the vocal channeling, channeling the energy and the spirit through the voice without any composed music, without any rhythm or beforehand like decided melodies or anything like that. It was pure improvisation.
Mm. Mm. I think it's kind of interesting, like how the the field of music education is so structured, and it's like it is so much about like learning like what is someone else's voice and expression like. It's like, okay, like I'm gonna try this person's clothes on, or and this person's clothes on, and like how do they walk and like how do they talk, and we like or like in that environment, like we spend so much time trying to get that right. And then
Yeah.
it's I think and then we kind of like think that to have your own voice, like to be someone who improvises or creates songs, like we have to be someone who is really creative, or someone who like is a songwriter, when like really like everyone has an expression, you know.
Mm.
It's like everyone has something to say, and I think it's one of those um uh one of those things where it like I think it comes at those moments when you actually feel like it actually needs to come like from the inside. Like I feel like this is like for singers especially, it's like when you've been learning like everyone else's way of like expressing and doing things and trying to like put that on your body, like then it's
Mm.
like frustration that it never feels fully authentic, but to like have it actually like coming somewhere from the inside. And that can feel scary, like when we like for people when we come from this environment and like from this world that teaches us to always look to the outside to like what is right and like what is the right structure and what is the right form. Like when we are actually allowed to let go of that, like in improvisation we have like basically we have no rules, or we can have things that guide us, but then it's like especially like you said, like in vocal channeling, you don't have similar kind of stylistic rules like in jazz improvisation. But then like
Yeah.
having that like trust that I can actually say and express and sound whatever
Mhm.
is in here.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like you can do vocal channeling and intuitive improvisation also with words. I'm right now learning also that it's very scary, to be honest. If you use actual words with your improvisation, like for every freestyle rapper, I'm like, wow, I appreciate what you are doing. But kind of like it's not so different from speaking with people, communication. You don't have to learn the lines, what you are saying, but like, you can just sing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like saying then what is so natural for everyone, like improvisation overall in life. You don't decide how your day goes or even your life goes. You are maybe trying to do that, but it never goes like that. So vocal channeling, intuitive improvisation, it's very like, it's so primitive for us as a humans.
Mm. How would you say, like, how does it feel different to you if you compare to the copy pasting like someone else's expression to improv
Mm,
and channeling?
well, um, they're kind of like very different things, but at the same time, you still have the emotion and the energy when you are copy pasting with your heart. Kind of like if you are singing some cover songs and you got the emotion, you find the story of the lyrics something that shakes something in here. If you like tap into the energy of the song, it feels then quite similar. But if you don't agree with the lyrics or you don't find the energy that you are channeling through that song, then it's like, it's very like, how to say, it's copy pasting and robotic somehow. And maybe that is the thing, that whatever you are singing, it is so important that you are with your emotions in the singing, because also the emotions has the energy for your voice. That is one thing that I'm also like discovering and teaching at the moment, like that the emotion energy is so important whatever voice you are doing, because that's where the energy comes and it doesn't feel like pushing or anything like that after that. It
Mm.
doesn't matter how like what big or different voices you're making, but if you have the energy from the emotion, it will like move your body to the voice.
Mm.
Yeah. But vocal channeling, it is different from singing composed music, because uh, if anyone has done energy healing, that is the same feeling. You feel like your your sense of yourself somehow, like it changes. You don't feel anymore so much like you were that person at at the moment. You feel more like you're part of something bigger. Maybe that's the best, like, you kind of like, you feel like you are more in the soul level of your being. You're more like in the, yeah, you are just part of the universe and you channel the energy that is coming through you as a voice. It's singing.
Mm. Yeah.
Hmm. Very meditative, like meditative. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. how would you say, like, how has it impacted you and your life? Like, do you see like any effects?
A lot, a lot. It has changed my voice, also my singing ability in overall, because I think when you are channeling some energy, kind of like the energy brings your voice to like high pitches or lower pitches and different like um, modes and effects. It brings effects to your voice also, maybe throat singing or whatever you can name it, because the energy brings your voice. It's like it's making magic, and at the same time your voice just goes with it. Yeah, it's very like it's so much easier way. I think that it is so much easier way to learn singing than the copy pasting, because the copy pasting, it is like you have to actually like think about like move that and move that point, move things inside of you. But the energy channeling through voice, it's like you're in the emotion and you kind of like surrender to the singing differently.
Yeah. And I feel like, especially like what I notice a lot, like in my work, that there is often like this process of unwinding, like the things that we have either learned about like our voice and expression, and then like unwinding the kind of like the somatic protection that kind of like automatically somehow like shields our voice, is that when we kind of like go into the unknown with our voice and expression, it's like where we kind of like get to meet these edges of like where we are like trying to almost like manipulate our voice into something or contort it into something. It's like I kind of like start thinking about, um business, and especially like online business, and there's like so many strategies that people have, and like everyone has like an opinion on like how you should be doing things, how you should be writing copy, and what your strategy should be like, and how you should be launching. But if it's not actually like fitting you and like everyone's individual energy and their like individual body and where they are at, it usually feels like it feels wonky. But then it's like we often like very unconsciously even like carry all these like things of like, how am I even allowed to use my voice, or how am I allowed to sound? But the like when we let the body almost like take the reins, like the body knows, and it will like want to do all the different things with
Mm-hmm.
our sound if we let it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, yes, absolutely. And in vocal channeling and intuitive improvisation, the source singing, it's not so much about learning, it's more about remembering,
Mm,
because we have all those past lives and future lives. And when you tap into the soul level, you kind of like you're in the whole range of your soul being.
mm,
And then you just remember the light language and the throat singing and different verses of singing that you have been doing or you are able to do when
mm,
you channel the energy.
mm. Yeah.
So it's also in our body already. It's kind of like also our genes carry memory. For example, that was also a crazy thing what happened to me, that um, I started to sing in joik style, like Finnish joiku. I started to sing in that way, and it was like I had never listened any joik, never. I have never been in that genre, and it just intuitively started to come out of me. I didn't learn it from anywhere or anything, but it started to come. And later I found out that I had forest Sami roots, that my roots were in the forest Sami people. So I think it was already in my biology.
Yeah. Our body has so much information and like I don't even know how to describe it. Like maybe in other words, the magic that there's so much magic in the body
Mm-hmm.
discover, especially like with voice. It's like I I always think about it like in this way that like there is so much like inside of us that we just don't know yet. Or maybe like we kind of know, but we don't know. Like we haven't like maybe yet tapped into like everything, or we haven't really like fully discovered it. And like maybe it's one of the things I find so fascinating about voice is like um how we get to like discover like so much of ourselves.
Definitely, yeah. And also how much voice impacts to your whole self. Like that was what I started to notice very early when I started to teach singing, like how the voice impacts to the whole being. Kind of like if you are very shy person, when you start to go for singing lessons and you learn how to make like bigger voice, bigger volume, like belting and stuff like that, it impacts to your whole self. You're not anymore so shy, and your speaking voice also gets more courage, and vice versa. If you are all the time like very, you find it very hard to like slow down and be in the moment and listen others. When you practice sing in a maybe falsetto or like more airy voice and more softly, it affects to your self, that you are able to start coming more into presence. Yeah. It changes the whole person when you start to change your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much. What would you say? I'm kind of thinking about the theme of role models, and like the way that I see it is that the role model, like we go through almost like the hero's journey. Like we have the trials and we have the triumphs, and the trials are things that almost like they give us our medicine, and they are things that we like that teach us, and they I think they are like one of the reasons like why we become like who we become. So what would you say like um what important trials have you gone through like in your own journey that has like made you become who you are like now in your life?
So you mean like what like happenings in my life changed me the way I am right now?
Yeah, like challenges or
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. Well, like I said already, like the huge journey that started when there was that chakra healing workshop that the singing teacher held for us in the conservatory. But actually, before that, my grandmother died, and that was like shaking thing for me. It was when it was 2017, and that was a huge thing because we were very close to each other, and she was like almost like a second mother for me. So I feel like that everyone's spiritual path or spiritual awakening, whatever it means, it starts from something tragic, something very like life-changing happening. And for me, that was it. It kind of like pushed the ball going, and the ball have been getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, so that was the first thing. And when I was at the shamanistic singing drumming circles, that was the second one, because yeah, I just recognized that there was something so like welcoming for me. It was something that I have been doing a lot of times, not in this life, but previously. I didn't know it at the moment. I wasn't so like aware of these things at that time, but that was it. And maybe third thing will be my studio at the moment, like how life got me into this point that I have now this studio at Oulu center where I can actually pass my information for other people and help other people with their journey with the voice, and maybe it's journey with their soul, also integrating the soul through the voice.
How have you experienced you shared about like your first like more spiritual experiences and like with the psychic? What was it like for you? Did you feel like you had a lot of resistance, kind of like leaning into that part of yourself that is more spiritual or mystical or like, you know, shamanistic? Do you feel like, was it like easy? Like, yeah, this is me.
No, I'd say it's never easy. And especially at that point when my like spiritual gifts or skills, whatever it is, like the clairvoyance and stuff like that started to open. It is rough time, and I hope that I can help other with that I have been already doing. But like, because you have to learn how to also control those things. There has been moments where I didn't control, and some messages wanted to pass through me for other people in wrong places, for example at the parties or social gatherings. And for me, it just felt like, but this is helping the person and I'm doing for good, but sometimes it's not the perfect place to pass some information from the spirit world.
Yeah.
Where people aren't ready for that. So yeah, definitely that's one of the things that it hasn't been easy. And yeah, well, the whole thing, what happens is that you become more sensitive. Your sensitivity increases a lot. So there's many things that it will affect your like foods and where you're living and who you spend time with. But actually that's also part of the process that they will affect, because in some point they won't anymore when you kind of like heal yourself enough that like you're not so how to say, you kind of like find more the center of yourself where it's easy to stay wherever you are. Of course the circumstances will always affect, but not anymore in that level that it will be like hard to be with your sensitivity. Yeah, but definitely like spiritual awakening and awakening to become a witch in a way, it is not easy. There's many things that I think everyone who feels, for example, that they are having some clairvoyancy, maybe hearing or seeing or sensing, or if you have similar experience like me, that your energy channels like perch open, like get into an energy healer. That was what I did, and it was the best decision ever, because they were the people who helped me to become like, to normalize those things and control them.
What does the word witch, what does it mean to you?
Witch. It's a positive word for me. It means that you are someone who lives kind of like in between of two worlds, the invisible world and the visible world, and someone who is so sensitive that you can sense energy, different kind of energies, and who can get messages from the others' spirits. If I'm doing energy healing, it's always the patient's own spirit that is healing them. I feel it in that way, that it's never something somewhere. It's the soul, their own soul, that is guiding me how to help them.
Yeah. You said that like about clairvoyancy. It's like, do you feel like your gift is like the sight that you see, or do you hear or sense, or is it like a combination of things?
It's a combination of all of those. It started with the seeing. I started to see, the first experience ever was, it was like one of those trials. I was in a, how to say, I was in my mikä on kuoppa englanniksi, like
Oh,
yeah, I was in a hole where kind of like mental hole, in a hole that I was really like learning what it is when you don't love yourself. I was in that phase, and it was actually quite rough at the times. And then this is pretty like I haven't actually told so much about this, but I think that I'm also ready to say this, that I was in that kind of a hole that I didn't love myself, and I was also hurting myself. And once when I hurted myself, I was like doing some scars to my skin. This was like 2020, maybe, something like that. And after this like happening, I was like crying at the floor, and then I saw two figures. Like, it was the first time ever seeing anything from the spirit world. It was a fairy and some kind of a monk or Buddha kind of like figures, like spirits that I saw there, and they were just like there, like looking at me like this, like, what are you doing and why? They were like, they didn't understand like why to do such a thing, like why hurt yourself, like they didn't understand it. They were like, why are you doing it, like why? And I was trying to like explain, and they were like, but what's the point, with that? And well, it stopped the action because they kind of like stopped me, and I realized that there really isn't any point with itsetuhoisuus. Yeah.
Yeah, like self-destruction.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I think,
Yeah, yeah, it felt right to tell about it because there is many people who are doing it also and have done it, and like,
yeah.
yeah, there isn't really any point for that. You're just increasing more pain. You think that it will like help you. Your inner mental pain is so big that you are trying to like help it with physical pain, but actually you're creating a loop that it will just, both of them will just feed each other.
Yeah.
There's better ways.
Yeah. And I think it can be something that can be a really like thing that carries a lot of shame to, say those things out loud, or even, like be honest about things like hurting yourself, or like having hurt yourself. Um so it's like one of those things that it's so important to actually speak out loud.
Mhm. Yeah, and there isn't really any reason to feel ashamed. It's like it's not anyone's fault. They are not doing it purposely. It's the best way they have at the moment. Like I did. I was so deep into that hole of not loving myself. I was feeling so like unworthy as a person.
Hmm.
It was that was a learning life lesson that I had to go through to
Yeah.
heal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say like was the alchemy like of that trial or challenge? Like what like how did you come like through it? And like what did you gain? Like gain, that sounds so stupid, but like um uh what would you say happened like going through that experience and alchemizing it? Like how did it change you?
Well, I don't know if it was that situation that changed me. I feel like that it was part of a bigger journey. It kind of like everyone has their like bottom, everyone and their like journey. And maybe that was kind of like my own journey, just hit the deepest hole, like the deepest darkness that you can be. It was something like that, maybe.
Mm,
And it was just part of the journey. Like then the journey just started to like
mm,
go like
yeah.
upper, if I think about it like later on. And like, yeah, if you face the feelings, I think I had that like feeling of unworthy and not loving myself like my whole life, but it was somewhere like in the levels that I didn't recognize so well. And then I started to like really face those feelings. They were like here
Mm,
and it was painful, but through facing those feelings, they can actually heal.
mm,
Yeah. And maybe the spirits were the best healer also. Like
yeah.
fairy and a monk saying to me, like, why are you doing it? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
made me really think like why? What is the reason?
Yeah.
Mm.
Like a turning point.
Yeah, turning point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah.
What would you say that you have learned about unworthiness and loving yourself?
Mm, well, they are everything that we have. Like if you don't love yourself and appreciate yourself, how can you ever really like appreciate or love anyone else either? And yeah, like by allowing yourself to be yourself, you are allowing yourself to shine and be who you are, do the things that you want to do in life, and kind of like the only way is the acceptance.
Mm.
Because the whole point why we are here on earth is that we would give our gifts to the world, our soul gifts. And the soul is also the heart. The soul is the deepest who we are, and by allowing yourself to be yourself, you can let that out also.
Yeah. It's funny how the holes that we kind of like go through there are often like so intertwined with like what we are here to share for others, like the medicine that we kind of carry for others too.
Yep, definitely. It is. And also about the topic like role model, it's like I have been thinking so many times like, oh, I wish to be like others. I wish to be like not so much like this that I am. I wish to be little bit like more basic. I think there's no basic, but that was how I saw the things at that time. But thing is like when you tap into the path of your soul, there isn't anyone who could actually like show you how to do things and where to go. There's like parts of different people who can help and you can learn things, but there everyone's path is so unique. Everyone's, and the only like what is the thing? Compass is the heart and the feeling. When you feel like this feels right, that is the thing.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I was like I want to do this side quest of the role model is that I feel like especially the people who kind of relate with, being a chain breaker. Is it chain breaker? Is it chain breaker? Like chain breaker, change maker, pioneer, visionary, or artist. It's like our paths tend to like look different than uh the form that we get from the society. It's like we're almost like here to like create change, and we're here to like live a path and also I think everyone is here to like live a path that like looks very like snowflakes. Everyone's snowflakes, but the conditioning around like why am I not there yet, or like why did I fuck up so many times, and like why does my journey look like this, or why am I so old and it didn't happen yet. Like all of this conditioning can still be so loud, and we're almost like we're not seeing the perfection and the bigger genius like in our own story, and how it's actually like everything is serving us so that we can step into that potential and that like true self that we are, and like bring those gifts out into the world. So it's like, yeah, I love that, like what you said about that, because it really fits the theme around like recognizing like wow, that this is my unique path and this is my individual path, and it's not even supposed to look like the story about success that I learned when I was a child or a teenager.
Yep, definitely. And yeah, definitely. And the hard challenges, they will just like they will give you the strength that you need to your like highest timeline of the life, like kind of like the most best version that you can be in this life of yourself. They are giving you the strength for being that. And also one thing that just came to my mind was that because the soul vibrates in love energy. Maybe that is also a thing why you need to start loving yourself. Because when you have the love in this physical vessel, your soul can like lend down to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. It's like a mic drop moment.
Yeah,
Really
just
good
came
one.
to my mind. Yeah, but it must be like that because
Yeah, but
yeah, and it's
makes
like
sense.
they go hand in hand. Like when the soul is more in our physical body, in our personality, in our body,
Yeah.
the more like the more sense your life starts to get. You get to do the things that feels right for yourself, and your it feels really like in that you're guided in all the ways. Your
Yeah.
life, you're living in a guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now I'm gonna ask you the question: how are you your own role model?
It's not easy every day, to be honest. Yeah, like I said, I've been wishing so many times that I had someone to like learn from exactly, but I think it's my path and everyone's path to learn from themselves. And the way how I am my best role model is that I trust my intuition. That's the thing that I get to learn every time more and more, that trust your intuition, trust your heart, your feeling. Your feeling is always guiding you. And sometimes the feeling might be fear, but try to come a bit like in a bird perspective. When you are in a fear, like where you are in fears, try to see things from a little bit like how they actually are in the soul perspective also. And yeah, how I am my best role model is that I just do the things that I like to do. I sing intuitively, sing the light language, and make music and teach and heal people. And I don't know, I just do the things that I love to do.
Yeah.
Let myself to do them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm almost like thinking about like a younger version of you. Like if a younger version of you like saw you like now, like where you are like in life, like what would she?
She wouldn't believe. She wouldn't believe because she was so like in that state that she was really like so ashamed and thinking that they can't do anything. They're so bad at singing and music and overall. She wouldn't believe. So if she would know, she wouldn't believe. Yeah, that's also a great reminder, like wherever we are at the moment, there might be something so good to come that you just absolutely can't believe at the moment what it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, I think we're about in an hour, so we can start wrapping up. Is there if somebody wants to know more about your story or your work, how can they find you? Are you on social media?
Yes, at social media, I'm Ehea Voice. You can find my Instagram and TikTok that I haven't done so much yet, but I'm right now starting to make more content to social media. So maybe soon you will hear more about me. But yeah, there's something already, so go check out my pages. And also www.eheavoice.com is also there.
Yeah.
Check out. And right now I'm teaching and healing at Oulu. I have my studio here, and let's see where the life takes me. I think the life goes in that way that if I think about 5 years more, I have no idea where I will be. So let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adventure awaits.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. It was lovely to have you. Thank you for the conversation. And
Thank you so much. This was very nice experience. And although I was quite nervous, this was like first podcast interview ever. So thank you so much for having me here. And you were so lovely host that it was very easy to relax here.
oh, good to hear. Okay. Go check Ehea out. And I'm going to say bye bye to our listeners. Bye bye.
Bye bye.